Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome to the Ted Show. Super happy to be back. I almost said, I don't know what I said, but super happy to be back. It's top of mind Tuesdays. So you know what that means. I get the one and only lovely Yvonne Sandoval with Leverage 365. Welcome. What's going on?
Oh, not much. I'm channeling my inner telenovela. I feel like it should be very dramatic.
It is. We've got the drama. Your lighting is actually better than mine right now.
I feel like I'm in the shadows, so I have my leopard print on, so I'm all ready
You're
to.
all golden. Yes, you and I were just talking about our upcoming stuff that we're doing with Women's Council of Realtors. So that is going to be fun and going to have a great year planned. I'm very excited about all of that. What else has been going on in your world?
I've just been concentrating on making sure we've got some great content for our classes that we're going to be doing. Every month, we're trying to do a class. I have lots of people who enjoyed our last one, which we had 41 attendees. Thank you so much, everyone, and for VIP Mortgage Group as well as RTR Title, who sponsored. We had a fantastic turnout about community expert and how to speak to your database and stay top of mind. And we're going to continue to bring you great content throughout the rest of the year.
Yes, it was really, really good. You know, that's what it is. You're just, all we're doing is kind of giving people some insights and some tips, social media, networking, all the stuff that you do with your business, your database. Believe it or not, I'm preaching to the choir with you, but it can be scary for some people and they don't really know how to do it properly. So
Absolutely.
I love these trainings and workshops.
Yeah, we're going to be talking today about effective networking. As a matter of fact, this is something I did for the Women's Council of Realtors last week. I spoke to their strategic partners at Volusia, helping their strategic partners to get the most of their benefits of their membership with the Women's Council of Realtors and helping them to network more effectively, which will grow their businesses, which in turn grows the members' businesses.
Yes.
So, and we're going to a networking event. As of tomorrow, we're going to be in West Palm Beach for the Women's Council of Realtors Midwinter Conference. So this is a very timely subject of effectively networking.
So before we even look at the slides, I want to ask you, when you go into networking starting to come back, obviously 2020, that was a whole new world we had to learn. And the fact that I was doing Zoom happy hours there just to make any kind of human contact speaks volumes to what we were all going through. But in-person, compliant, safe networking is beginning to come back. You and I are both seeing it. So what's one pet peeve before we take a deep dive, unless it's in your presentation? When you go to a networking event, what's one thing that you would, pet peeve's probably strong. You see something and you would love to counsel that person on how not to do that.
Well, it's probably not on my slides because it's best to be spoken about. And I'm one to talk because I have leopard skin on, but leopard print is how you dress. So that's not on my slides because I've seen and you've seen people come to networking events with not being appropriately dressed, and this goes for men and for women. They're coming too scantily clad or coming not professional, and for men as well, coming in too casual, like they're going for a jog. I had a networking event that I had done, and the sponsor came wearing a hoodie and sweatpants and sneakers. And I said to myself, you know what? There's a time to go work out, and there's a time to network it out. And
Right.
you need to be addressed so that people see you in a professional light. So that would be one of my big pet peeves. It's dress to impress. That's like, I feel like so old school, but yet, think about it. We do judge a book by its cover. We're the human beings. So not to say that how you dress really is a reflection of how well your work is, but I can tell you right now, it will help you to not repel people from you.
Well, I think you're right. I think networking in general, remember the whole point of networking is to get out and meet new people and expand your network. If you want to have a bunch of your friends over to watch a football game and you want to be all in those clothes, that's one thing. But if you're trying to find new people, the very first thing that they're going to see is how you appear. And so I'm in agreement with you. It's not a beach party. It's not a rager. It's a networking event, a professional one.
Well, the word work is in the word networking.
Yep.
So when you hear the word work, that should give you a signal that you are working. And so, work the room, and you do that by being professionally dressed like you're going to work.
Yes.
So it's pretty simple.
It's simple stuff. All right. So let me pull up the slideshow. Let's see if Ted can actually get this done.
There you go.
There's Russ. Hey, Russ. All right. So let me make it so it's all this, right?
Yeah, we can go to the first slide.
And I'm going to go to the first slide, which takes me off for just a second.
So we're going to go through some of these points. This is a pet peeve of a lot of for me as well, and I think maybe Ted understands that in the industry in which we work, which is real estate. I think there's been a connotation that people arrive late. Have you ever heard about that, Ted?
Yes, it's I'm an early bird.
Me too. My mom always taught me if you're not early, then you're late.
So, correct. I mean, and I love the people that come in. I when we train people, we both do it. When I counsel people, train, coach, whatever word you want to say, I'm like, timeliness is an impression. This is a characteristic that people judge you on, and they will see whether or not you think their time is valuable enough or not to be on time.
Absolutely. So try to be on time or early, because that's going to let you be able to be the first person that they see when they walk in, and it gives it's a calmer environment. Calmer and quieter is to your advantage. Yes. So for people who want to get lost in a crowd, then you're not an effective networker if that's your mindset. Obviously people haven't settled into groups, and this is a big one that I'd like to point out. I despise, and that's a really, really tough word for me to say because it's harsh, but when I see a group of people coming to an event and not talking to anyone else but their own group, which I mean they work for the same company.
Pet peeve, definite pet peeve.
Whether you're a mortgage company, title company, or in this industry, and you're networking at an event, or your home inspector, and you've brought a few of your representatives with you, they should not be talking to each other. They've got plenty of time to do that outside of work, which is networking. I used to tell, also when I used to bring my staff to networking events, I would also tell them, this is from my own past, that they should only have 2 drinks and that's it. Cut it off at 2 drinks, because you are at a networking event. Yes. You're representing me, and I want you to be on your toes. I want you to be sharp because you're so smart. Otherwise, you wouldn't be working with me. And I want you to come across as smart. And sometimes when with anyone dulls their senses, then they won't be as sharp as I know. True. So keeping that to a minimum. I don't care how much people in the room drink. Have fun. That's what that's what we want. We want you to be relaxed and enjoy. But if you're working, then you work, and I'll make sure that you are doing and being purposeful with your time. And also, of course, find other people who don't have conversation partners yet. So when you see someone hanging out by themselves, that's your cue to go up to them and say, "Hi, my name is," and that's kind of where it leads us to the next slide.
All right, let me hit the next slide.
I'm being tough today.
Love it. There we go.
So what are you going to say when you walk up to someone? Well, this is really essential to understand that you're there to ask questions. You're there to get engagement. You're definitely not there to make a sale or get someone to work with you. You're there to get to know the people in the room, because the more you know them, that they trust you. They'll feel a commonality, a familiarity with you, which will gain the trust that you need to get that appointment. So that's what really this is. Networking is not making any sales. It's there to get to know people. So I want you to ask easy questions like, "Excuse me, but may I join you? What brings you to this event?" And ask it in a meaningful way. Like you are wanting to know these things, because if you're not, then you're not effectively networking. When you're saying them, be very cognizant of your body language. Something called the head tilt. So if I'm asking a question, I will go like this, and I'll say, "May I join you? Oh, what brings you to the event?" It means that you're engaged. That is just body language 101. And I don't see a lot of people doing that. Sometimes you'll see people texting on their phone while they're talking to you.
Oh, pet peeve, pet peeve.
I don't have a problem with the people texting on a phone. I have a problem with it when they're engaging with me and I've just met them 4 minutes ago. So you know what? Whoever you need to text, you can excuse yourself and say, "Excuse me, I'll be right back. I just have to finish this conversation." Because a conversation by text is the same as a conversation as in person. So it's a conversation. So you're going to be asking follow-up questions when the person does answer you, when you're asking engaging questions. The other thing is ditching the sales pitch. You absolutely need to not be pitching your services. What I let people know is that 11 seconds is really all you have to let people know not what you do. I don't want to know what your profession is.
Right,
I want to know what the outcome is. So when you're going to introduce yourself, I would say this is my 11 seconds or less, as I say, I keep real estate agents top of mind with their database. Okay, that's what I tell them. I help them achieve top of mind status with their database. So it tells you what the outcome of what I do is, not what I do. So it's not like I can easily just say, "Well, I'm a marketer. I do marketing." Well, that doesn't tell them anything. So what's in it for me is what's the outcome. So I help realtors achieve top of mind status. That's it. And then they're going to say, "Well, how do you do that?" Right? That's the engaging way of speaking. So you're not there to say, "Well, I'm a realtor." No, you're not a realtor. That's your profession. What's the outcome of what you do? I help families find their dream home. That's what you would say. That's when someone asks you what you do. So it's the outcome. It's how you make someone feel is what you want to tell them when they ask you. You're not there to sell them, so no hard sells, of course. And smiling, I know we have on masks, but I'm going to tell you, your eyes smile.
They do, people. They really do.
So don't think that you can stick your tongue out at the person underneath the mask and they don't know it. They may not know it, but your eyes are a dead giveaway. So smile with that mask on and lean in. Leaning in as you're speaking shows engagement. Last week when I did this for the Women's Council, I also showed the body language, which is the pointing of feet. When you're looking down at the person, is their feet pointing away from you or are their feet pointing towards you? So they're facing towards you means they're engaged. If they're sitting down, it's the opposite. Their feet are turned towards you and not away from you, perpendicular to the table, then they're engaged. If they're pointing their feet towards you. So they have to be angled when they're sitting down, especially if you're sitting side by side. Of course. And then, another great question you can ask is, how can I help you? So now that they know that you help people buy and sell property, or in this case, their dream home, then you can say, well, how can I help you? And that's where it's about, because this is what we're trying to do, is engage people. And then within 48 hours of the event, you should have reached out and continued that conversation in some mode of communication, which means either text message, email, it could be social media that you've engaged with, meaning that you've friend requested them, and then they've hopefully accepted it, and then now you're making comments and likes on their social media posts. So you can reach out to people on all different modes of communication. doesn't just have to be a text message or a phone call or an email. It could be any one of those, or a social media request. Could be LinkedIn request, Instagram follow. So these are the different ways that you can do something to keep that conversation going, but try to do that within 48 hours of the event. And then set a date on your calendar. I absolutely do this. I'm very purposeful with my networking. I'll put a date on my calendar, follow up with Wendy. Met Wendy tonight, follow up with her, and I put it on the calendar on the day in which I need to follow up with her. If someone says, "Hey, I want to talk to you on the 7th," which reminds me, I had reached out to a person who asked me to reach out to them on the 7th, but I never heard back from them, so I have to follow up with them again.
Yes.
But those are all things that you need to be using, your handy dandy phones for more than just having fun. Your phone is really your business, and it's going to keep you organized, and it's going to keep your business running. But if you use all of those tools that are in there, like your calendar. So our next one is create the action plan. Yeah, I was telling you, work your networking like a business, because it is your business to get to learn about people who can help you to grow your business, and you can grow theirs. So knowing the key players before you enter a room. There's a movie, The Devil Wears Prada, which is a great movie. And before she goes off, who's the main character? It's Meryl Streep. So Meryl Streep has her assistant has a picture book, and in that book it has all the key players, and they have to run through it to see. She goes, "Well, who's this person?" And you go, "Well, that's someone." And her job as the assistant was to know who all of these people were by face, so that she could apprise her boss when working a room, who is the key players, who are the people that you need to speak to. I come from that world. So like I said, I worked in Manhattan. I worked in a very high-level real estate investment trust with big players, and that is what was done. I mean, now of course they don't have books. You have your phone, but you needed to brief your higher up about who it was in the room that needed.
I love that, Yvonne. I wish I had an Anne Hathaway.
Yeah. Oh, and she had 2 assistants. Remember, she had Anne Hathaway and the British girl.
My God! Sometimes it's when you meet a lot of people. Like, don't beat yourselves up about it. Like, but when you meet a lot of people, it can be a lot to try to remember everyone. I'm blessed with knowing most people, but God, there are sometimes I wish I had Anne Hathaway whispering in my ear, "Well, you met that person at the Aura event, Ted."
Yeah, sometimes I do that with you.
You do. That's sort of where I was leading. I've had to ask Yvonne several times at events.
Who is that?
How do we know that?
I need Anne Hathaway, but the truth
seriously.
The truth of the matter is that's normal. That's very, very normal, and that is how you really effectively do have a buddy with you, or somebody that you can have that interaction with. So having an action plan before you go. Having people that you have a list that you want to meet. Now, the other thing you can do is ask for introductions. So if I'm with Ted or Ted's with me and we want to meet someone and I know them and he doesn't, or vice versa, I'll say, "Ted, can you introduce me?" That introduction can happen that night at the networking event, or it may happen a couple of days later where he sends a text message. I just did this at a women's council meeting where there were 2 vendors there who said, "Hey, I do this, this, and this." And I'm like, "Well, you know what? I'm going to introduce you to 2 people right now." And I got my phone out and I sent a message to you and to another person. And I introduced those people to you and to another person right then and there on the spot.
Yeah, that's good.
That's what you need to do. So asking for introductions is what this young lady did to me. She did it the right way, and I facilitated that for her on the spot. The best place to stand is right where people are leaving to exit the bar, not when they're walking in. So that kind of I don't know if that needs any explanation.
I get that, and I really want to reiterate that. If you're the person that I can't even get in to the place, and you're that person that stands at the very front, it's very difficult I don't even, I try to avoid people like that because I'm not, let me go in, let me get settled, let me get the lay of the land, and then I can come talk to you.
Absolutely.
But I agree with that so much. Exiting the bar is perfect.
Absolutely.
They just got their drink, they're good.
They're good. And that's what they need to get their drink first. And that's perfectly what we want them to have.
Yep.
And don't stand where people are exiting with food, though.
Correct.
So, if anything, the tip is that when you break bread together, you have a bond. So
yes.
You want to sit down or stand, in this case, wherever you're having this event, and you want to eat with that person, that is a greater way of having a bonding moment and getting to have a higher level interaction. So this is another pet peeve of mine, having to dig for your business cards. I don't understand. I love you all, but if you're a real estate agent and you can't find your business card or you don't have one, you don't have very much equipment in your business. Like, okay, if you were a construction worker and you were supposed to bring your tools to the construction site and you didn't bring your tools, you would be sent home because you're of no use to anyone.
Right.
If you're a realtor and you are without business cards, when your only function is to meet human beings who need shelter, then you're putting yourself out of business. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
It's an interesting thing. I'm guilty sometimes. I don't like business cards.
Yeah, I don't either.
So I'm guilty of the scrambling, but I've also seen where they've dug either in their backpack or their purse, and by the time it comes out, I'm not sure what's all over it. It's partially broken. And I'm like, you could have just given me your phone number. It would have been fine.
Yeah, and that's fine. And even though both of us don't really care for business cards, I have to say that the mere having of one, having a business card, gives you a little more professionalism. It makes you seem like, even if the person says, you know what, just give me your phone number, or you say, oh, I only have one card left, which is actually not a bad thing to say. I only have one card left. How about I give you my phone number? We put it in your phone right now.
Yes.
Okay. So, but by not having any is kind of like, it does not, I want people to realize you seem more professional if you're down to your last card.
Correct.
If you have no cards. So get around to Vistaprint and get for $23. They'll send you 250 cards. And for $5 more, they give you another 250. It's crazy. So just have them made. And then, of course, introducing people whose needs match another person's strengths, which is really important. So if you know somebody, and in this case, so what I do is I help real estate agents stay top of mind with their sphere. And you know somebody who's struggling with that, you say, oh, Yvonne, I'd like you to, I'm going to introduce you to Joe. Joe, I know you mentioned the other day that you're in need of this. And even though you could also work with Joe because maybe you're a mortgage lender or maybe you're a title person, you're making those introductions show you as a resource.
Yes.
So all you're doing, you're not there about selling, your services as a title company or as a mortgage company or a land, maybe as a home inspection. You're about being that great connector, which we all know Ted to be. And so take a book, like just step back and watch Ted, if you want, and to just a gleam on what he's doing, because that is what it's about. It's about being the great connector at these events.
You want to be exactly what she's saying. Like, I want people to think of me first when they have whatever, within reason, of course, whatever the need is that they need. If you want to know where you can get tickets for XYZ, I'm a mortgage guy. I still want you to think of me and ask me because I want to be the great connector. I want you to think of me first because, guys, the more often, thank you, Wendy, by the way, the more often that people think of you first on other things, they think of you on what you really want them to think of you, which brings you business. So
absolutely,
be the connector.
Yeah, so this doesn't have to be all about you meeting people and you setting appointments. It could be a matter of, well, maybe this person doesn't need your services at the moment, or maybe never. But if you can connect them with someone that they do need the services from, you're going to stay top of mind. And that's really the whole point of this of today is to be top of mind.
Yes.
So that in the future you're building a business. So think of it as a long-term investment, and you're building something. I'm very, very visual, so I see like bricks, and every time you're out is another brick in that you're building the walls of your business. So it's very important. You don't get a chance to get another brick,
Yes.
and so we need to really, especially these in-person events that we're, thank goodness, coming back to. You must walk in there with an action plan, and just don't. It's not time to have fun. It's time to work for you, for me. I'm working. Okay.
Yes.
The persons, hopefully, the people coming to the event, they're there to have fun, but they are there to find services that will help their business grow. Otherwise, it'd be called a birthday party. So it's not that. It's
True
not.
that.
I think my last slide is just basically a.
I'm getting it. Hold on.
It's a wrap up. Yeah, it's just a wrap up. So the biggest part of all of this, people, is that the people that you meet, add them to your database. I mean, bottom line, this is the only, especially in the realtor world, when you're out and about and you're networking, every single person, including myself, including Ted, including everyone, needs shelter. We're all potential someone you can do business with. Every human being. That's what I love about realtors. Their demographic is human beings.
Yep.
Me, my demographic is realtors. So, I have a limited amount of people that I can go and try to meet. Realtors can meet everyone, and everyone's a potential. So add that person, get their information. You get their information, and then stay in touch. That is what networking is all about. Adding to your database and then staying in touch and continuing that conversation until the time comes that either that person needs your services or that person refers you to someone in their sphere who needs your services. So that's the last slide says it all. That's
Fantastic.
That's what you're doing it for.
Well, and I think it's just so important when you're networking. I love the fact that you added that, because I think I've heard you say that before. Work is part of networking. It doesn't have to be like you're getting, what is that old thing where they broke off the fingernails, or they put little pins and needles on your, it doesn't have to be torture. Or find a buddy that you know that is good at it and tag along for a little bit. People will mentor you. When I see somebody struggling in a networking event, I always find a way to go up and try to help them.
Yeah, if you're an extrovert, then this is obviously your forte. But if you're an introvert, and some of us, including myself, I am not the biggest extrovert that people think I am. Especially if there's a lot of people. When I went to an event with Ted about a little over a year ago, before the COVID scare, we went to American Social. I personally could not stay because there were so many people.
Oh yeah.
American Social, I felt overwhelmed.
I forgot about that.
That was so, yeah, but I don't forget about it because I was overwhelmed. It was so many people. So you know what? Then you remove yourself from that situation. But we don't have that anymore. We're having they're socially distanced. You have, and I'm liking it that it's fewer people because then I can have more meaningful interactions. So I always want to look at the bright side of things, and the bright side for me is right now you have great opportunities to make really good connections, deep level connections with people who can potentially help you build your business as well as you can help build theirs. Just make sure you're staying in contact with those people because when the time comes, you need to be top of mind for them to want to work with you or refer you.
See, that's how you end the broadcast.
That's how you do it.
All right, Yvonne Sandoval, getleverage365.com. You can find her there, or Leverage365 all over social media. Reach out to me, reach out to her. We have this wonderful gold mine in our databases. And so let's use it and grow it. Use it and grow it. So thank you so much. That was awesome, Yvonne.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you guys soon for another Top of Mind Tuesday. See you guys. Bye, everybody.